All right, so the Chicago Bears are playing the Los Angeles Rams after coming off a frustrating loss. I mean, every loss is frustrating for the Bears, but a really winnable game that we could have came out with a W. And I know I didn't make a video on that last weekend, probably for the best because I maybe would have said things that I didn't really mean in that moment because I do tend to get a little angry and a little exaggerated when the Bears lose. So probably best I didn't make that video. But yeah, we are facing the Rams at home. I'm actually going to be at that game, so let me know if you guys are going to the game as well. But going into it, just straight into it, the Rams offense, man, we got to look at, obviously, who our opponent is and, what they bring to the table. So starting off with their wide receivers, the Rams offense, that is. And as you guys know, Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, their top two guys who are both amazing players, are both out for this week. I know Puka Nacua, he is on IR, and Cooper Kupp, I don't know if he's on IR. I don't think so, but he is not playing this game, and that's all that matters for the Bears. And, man, they have a lot of injuries on a team in general, but we're just going to talk about the offense real quick. Their injuries to wide receivers, their offensive line is also depleted, man. They are just devoid of talent everywhere. They're kind of remind me of the Browns last year. I don't know if you guys remember, but a lot of their top players got injured, and the Rams are kind of going through it right now, already in week 4. Within the first 3 weeks of the season, already a bunch of their players have injured. So we're going to definitely have to take advantage of that. And then Tutu Atwell, it's a decent wide receiver 3, but he's going to be operating as this week's wide receiver 1. And Atwell's underrated. I'll give him that. He's not a wide receiver 1. So Jalen Johnson, Tyreek Stevenson, whoever he's matched up on that, they should be able to have a field day with him, give him no problems. The only thing we'd have to watch out for is Matthew Stafford. He knows Chicago, and he's a great quarterback still, even at his older age. And he's coming off a comeback victory against the San Francisco 49ers. I believe the score was 27-24. They were down 24-14. And he came back and led them to victory, even though they don't even have any of their players. Crazy. I don't know if that means the 49ers are frauds or if the Rams are just underrated or maybe both. Hopefully not the underrated part for the Rams. But yeah, they are coming off a really big victory. And then pretty much their X factor on offense is Kyren Williams. Still an amazing running back. Doesn't rush for a ton of yards every single game, but he's still an amazing running back. Still can churn out some really good yards and get you a bunch of touchdowns either way. And then taking a look at the Rams defense, man, there's not really much to talk about other than the fact that, once again, they're also depleted at almost every position due to injuries. And on top of that, they are at least bottom 10 in pretty much every major defensive ranking. They are so bad this season when it comes to literally anything. The run, the pass, usually with like other teams we face, we can kind of look at, we can funnel it to a run or we can spread the ball out with a pass because, other teams weaker in that area. But this team is just bad everywhere, literally everywhere. So our offense should have no problem getting going this week. And last week, Caleb Williams did pass for a lot of yards and 2 touchdowns. So this week should be a much more efficient, maybe not those numbers exactly, but much more efficient game against the Rams. All right, now going on to the injury report for the Bears. And honestly, it looks like a lot here, but as you can kind of see and as you can kind of tell, it's not really that many injuries to begin with. So starting off with the players that are out, Stephen Carlson, tight end, he's out for this game. Zach Pickens out once again. I believe this is his 3rd straight week being gone, which is not looking good for his, roster output. If he's going to be on the roster, after this season, he better, fix whatever he's got going on. I know it's a groin issue, so trust me, I get it. It's a really painful thing. So hopefully he comes back. Terrell Smith, I believe our backup corner, is also out for this game. So the good news is the guys that are for sure out are not really key contributors. None of them are starters essentially. So at least our starters are not out yet. For questionable though, Andrew Billings, he did have kind of a weird week when it came to practicing. He had a knee issue in which he started off limited, then didn't practice, and then was limited again. So he's really questionable. We don't know for sure he's going to play, but I really hope he does because he has been balling out this year for us. And then you're going on to Kevin Byard, our starting safety. He did not practice on Thursday, but he did practice a little bit on Friday, so that also makes him questionable this week as well. I really hope he plays because we don't really have anybody else as safety other than Jaquan Brisker, but obviously to fill Kevin Byard's spot, we don't really have anyone who's starting level quality. And then for the guys who are full and who are going to play this game, first of all, Keenan Allen, I did miss that on the last one too. I believe he is playing as well. I don't know if that's actually confirmed, but I think he is on track to play. So thankfully now all 3 of our receivers are going to be playing in this game. But going on to the guys who are listed full on here, got Kari Blasingame, our fullback, Nate Davis, who I'll get into a little bit later, but I believe he is being benched. Then you got Braxton Jones in there. You've got Mercedes Lewis. Then you've got Rome Odunze, Montez Sweat, Darrell Taylor, and Darnell Wright, who are all full, all playing this week. And we've got a pretty healthy squad this week versus a very injured Rams team. Now going on to the Bears offense here, Caleb coming off a massive performance last week in terms of the numbers, 363 yards and 2 touchdowns, but he did throw 2 picks. Remember guys, he's still a rookie. It's his 3rd week in. Give him some time. Obviously great with the numbers, but still needs to be a little bit more efficient. Still struggles with a little bit of turnovers and decision making. I believe he gets to clean that up a little bit this week with a much worse defense. And then you've got the rookie of the week, and honestly our MVP for last week, which was Rome Odunze, coming off a massive breakout performance, 100 plus yards and 1 touchdown. Just a really awesome performance by Rome Odunze. He did contribute kind of to a interception that was thrown to him, but honestly it wasn't much of his fault because it was a contested catch, very difficult catch to make. It was just more unlucky that the ball did bounce to another defender's hands. Also, Cole Kmet coming off a pretty much career performance, honestly. He almost had 100 yards and a touchdown, had 10 catches last week. So we're now seeing Shane Waldron is playing Cole Kmet. If you guys remember week 1, Gerald Everett was getting more snaps. That should never happen again. I'm glad that Shane Waldron's kind of seeing that now and testing out his best players, which, I mean, it really shouldn't have taken this long to start playing Cole Kmet this often, and now that he's doing better than Gerald Everett, which we all knew would happen. But hey, I guess better late than never, right? The run game, unfortunately, is still pretty much abysmal with especially DeAndre Swift starting, but we are seeing glimpses of Roschon Johnson and Khalil Herbert too, and Roschon Johnson finally playing last week and seeing how he is a much better pure running back than DeAndre Swift, a much better downhill runner, falls forward after every contact, breaks tackles, has much better vision than Swift. So it sucks that Swift is honestly our running back 3 at this point, but hey, at least we got somebody who can perform behind his really bad offensive line. Also, in some latest news too, I believe either Eberflus or Shane Waldron said that they're planning to use Roschon Johnson more this game. So thank God we don't have to see too much of Swift. Hopefully, they can say whatever they want, but we'll actually see what happens in game. Khalil Herbert's also the goal line back, which sort of I agree with. I would have honestly used Roschon at the goal line, but I'd rather have Herbert than Swift. So the play calling has been slightly better, but it still needs a ton of work. Obviously, you had the speed option on 4th down last week at the 1-yard line, which was an absolutely abysmal call. And thank God Shane Waldron recognizes that and says he needs to be better. So I do like the accountability that he takes in his bad play calling. I mean, but it's one thing to say that you've messed up and everything. It's another thing to actually go ahead and fix those things. And I really hope Shane Waldron has a plan to fix those play calling mistakes and actually call a good game for Caleb Williams and the rest of this Bears offense. And the last thing about the Bears offense, it's honestly one of the bigger pieces of news that I'm so happy about. Nate Davis is officially benched. That's right. Even though he is fully participating in practice, and even though he is a healthy player, I guess, in going into week 4, he is not starting. They are starting Matt Pryor, who obviously isn't that much of an upgrade. We're not going from Nate Davis to Zach Martin here or anything like that. But it is still an upgrade nonetheless, and that's important for Caleb Williams. And maybe Karan Abagaji, maybe he slots in there if Matt Pryor doesn't perform that well. But either way, anybody at this point is better than Nate Davis, so I'm so happy that the Bears made that change. Going on to the Bears defense here, not too much to talk about here, but there are a bit of concerns, in my opinion, in the run defense. If you guys remember last year, we were pretty much the best run defense in the league. And now we're kind of middle of the pack, and I'm seeing now with guys like Tony Pollard and Jonathan Taylor who carved us up in those 2 games, and especially Jonathan Taylor, man. Last week, we let him have his way with us, and he just destroyed us last week. So we need to do better on the ground because we are going to be going against a really good running back, also almost on the same level of Jonathan Taylor, to be honest, in Kyren Williams, and he can do it all. He can run goal line, he can run anywhere on the field, he can catch the ball. So honestly, guys, we're going to have to watch out for him. Good news is the secondary is still elite, though. Obviously, we've stopped Will Levis. We pretty much stopped C.J. Stroud, which was huge. And last week, we stopped Anthony Richardson. He had a terrible performance last week. So we just got to keep that going against Matthew Stafford, who, in my opinion, is probably the best quarterback we faced so far, other than maybe C.J. Stroud. But obviously, Matthew Stafford is the veteran, probably knows more, and is definitely the oldest quarterback we faced, actually. Because if you think about it, we faced some really young quarterbacks these first 3 weeks. Will Levis only into his second year, C.J. Stroud in his second year, and Anthony Richardson in his second year. So we were facing pretty much the entire 2023 QB draft class, and now we're going to be facing a quarterback who's been in the league for a while, a veteran that doesn't fall for the same tricks as these younger guys will. So we're going to have to be on our A game against Matthew Stafford. And now for my keys to victory for this game. The first key being Utilize all playmakers. Like I said, Keenan Allen is playing this game. Obviously, we have a Dunze, we have DJ Moore. We're now using more of Cole Kmet. And obviously, we're kind of, quote-unquote, benching DeAndre Swift for Roschon Johnson and Khalil Herbert. Utilize all these playmakers. Guys, they are depleted everywhere. On the defense, on offense, I'm talking about the Rams, of course. We need to take advantage of that. Use your playmakers, man. My second key here is use Roschon Johnson more on rushing plays. Leave the pass catching to DeAndre Swift. I recognize that DeAndre Swift is probably our best pass catching back on our team. And he'll be good on screen passes. He'll be good as a receiving back on third down. But in terms of first down runs, goal line, anything else, use Roschon Johnson or Khalil Herbert. I promise you, as of right now, I mean, yes, Swift could change it around maybe. I highly doubt he will, but there is still technically a chance he can, get it together. But as of right now, your best chances of winning when running the ball come from Roschon Johnson and Khalil Herbert, not DeAndre Swift. I'm sorry, he's been abysmal these first 3 weeks. We don't see any signs of it getting better, and when that happens, you got to make changes. I don't care how much we paid Swift, you got to make the change. And then the final key to the game, which is honestly the most important key for me out of all the three other keys that I have here, which is do not let Kyren Williams get going. I know I said the same thing about Jonathan Taylor last week, and kind of that's exactly what happened. We maybe would have won that week, last week, if you would have not had Jonathan Taylor blow up on us. But obviously the Bears often struggle too, so it's not entirely on our defense. But for this game especially, please, we need to stop Kyren Williams. And I'll say this, right? Kyren Williams is the best player on the Rams offense. And if Tutu Atwell and Demarcus Robinson and Colby Parkinson on the Rams offense, if those pass catchers beat us, so be it, man. If Matthew Stafford carves us up with backup receivers, so be it. But you cannot let Kyren Williams get going. He is almost a for sure touchdown every game, almost a for sure 80 yards rushing every week. This dude is a monster on the ground. We need to just put all our assets and resources into stopping Kyren Williams. And if we do, we have a really good chance of winning this ballgame. And now for my final score prediction, it is going to be a tough one, guys. I know because of Matthew Stafford. And honestly, dude, I would not be surprised if we lost this game because Matthew Stafford is still a really good quarterback. He's a very smart quarterback, makes really good decisions. And, I mean, obviously, he's a vet in this league, a Super Bowl winning champion. However, they are depleted, like I said, with injuries. Their team is injured. And Caleb Williams is starting to get going just a little bit. Our defense is still solid. I think we come out of here victorious with a score of 27-20. I think the Bears offense starts to get going this game. So that is my final score, 27-20. Bears win. Let me know what you guys think down below. Give me some score predictions. Bear down, I'm out.